The topic on the screen, you guys, today. Why are passport bros so ashy and angry? I just saw like a couple live streams about passport bros just now, and um instead of them talking about how happy they are to be able to have the means and the opportunity to go out and explore the world, all I see them talking about is talking about black women and talking about how black women are obese and overweight and nobody likes black women and this, that, and the third. And I just really want to know like exactly why, you know, that's always the talk of the town, like black women. If you are a passport bro and you've decided to go ahead and divest away from American women or black women, BLK women, then why the heck are you talking about them and always using them when you're talking about passport bro and then going outside? Like, I literally watched a live stream, which I'm gonna make a video about this, of BLK men in the live stream talking about how BLK women think that they're equal to BLK men. And they're not equal. We're beneath them. And the women in other countries know their place and know that they're beneath the man. At what point as a man do you really want why do you want to oppress women so bad? Why do you want to be above a woman so bad? And my thing is that why do BLK men want to be superior over women so bad? Because they come here, they stay in the United States, they get played, they get dogged, they get hung up from trees, disrespected, unfairly incarcerated by the white T man, and they never in their life tell these white T men that, hey, you're beneath me, you're below me, I want to fight you, I want to get a better position in society. They never have any of this smoke about superiority with men, only black women. And it's so weird to me. Like, I don't understand the idea of you thinking that you're a king or you're a big man when the only people that you try to bully and say you're above are BLK women. That makes no sense to me. If you was that much of a big dog, why you not telling the white team in this stuff? Why you not talking about them and all the stuff that they're doing right now to actively erase black history? Huh? It just really doesn't make any sense to me. And I want somebody to explain it to me. Please explain to me why. Why? It's like I go in there and I hear this weirdo named Charles Brooks, and he's like, oh, well, let's talk about how black women are the highest percentage of single mothers. Let's talk about how they're the highest percentage of women that have children out of wedlock. Okay, well, who controls wedlock? Who controls weddings? Huh? Oh, BLK men control weddings. They always talk about how men have the keys to marriage and men have access. So how would not being married be BLK women's fault? If a BLK woman's not married, how is that her fault when y'all are the ones that are quote unquote in control of marriage? Huh? And then he goes to say like, oh yeah, BLK women, the highest percentage of single mothers. I would like everybody to know, if anybody ever looks at these percentages, it says that 41% of BLK women are single mothers. And if that's the case, who's making them single mothers? Do you think that these women are having children and they just want to go through it all alone by themselves without any help or assistance? If we talk about the fact that BLK women make up the most percentage of single mothers, then how come we never talk about the fact that any other race of woman that also engages with BLK men also have high rates of becoming single mothers? Who is the common denominator? Who's the common denominator with all of that? I mean, it just any other time we can think rationally except when it comes to BLK women. Like, why are we not using our thinking caps? Why are we not thinking rationally? It's just like if I go and tell everybody that, I don't understand why I'm always getting into it with people, right? I say I think I'm perfect. I don't have any problems, any flaws. And then I keep getting into it with person after person after person after person. And they all say that let's say they say that I'm rude. And every person that I engage with says that I'm rude. Wouldn't that mean that I'm rude? Like, it doesn't make any sense to me. So if you have the same problems in any community that you go to, not just with BLK women, then wouldn't that mean that the problem is indeed your own? Like, I don't understand that. So if you say that BLK women are single mothers, there's so many that are single mothers, baby mamas, unmarried, but then when you go with these other races of women, groups of women, and they're in the same predicament as BLK women, then what does that tell you? What does that tell you? And like I said, I want to know why there are so many passport bros that, just like the prompt says, ashy and angry. I go to all of these passport bro lives, specifically ones with BLK men. I specifically go and look, and they are always unattractive, or they look like they just got out of cell block 17. Bruce Leroy, you said that I sound hurt. Please tell me how I sound hurt. I know that that's like y'all default, you know what I'm saying, to say something, I mean, it doesn't even have any bearing on what I said. I said very, very factual things. Nobody's hurt. If y'all want to talk about it, y'all the ones that are hurt. Y'all are the ones that have to go across the equator to get somebody to entertain y'all and that y'all are paying for. Excuse me. I don't have to do that. So I'm married too, baby. I've been married for 15 years. So what are we talking about? So how would I be hurt? Make that make sense, please. Please. All right. I would love to hear it. Please get in the box. Tell me. I would like you to give me one reason that shows that I am hurt. I just said that I don't understand why all this slander about black women. I don't understand it. It makes no sense at all to me. And I actually will be married 16 years this year on my anniversary. So yeah, I like I said, I think it's just so weird that I constantly hear these men talk about how much they don't like black women. If you don't like BLK women, why are you not married? All of these guys talking about, oh, I go to Colombia, I stay the month, I'm going back. If these women are so great and you're so great, why are you not bringing back wives? It doesn't make any sense. Look, Bruce Leroy, first of all, I already know you're a cornball by your name. Look, I don't care what they're talking about. Matter of fact, I'm going to block you because if you can't get in the live and say it with your voice, I don't want to hear nothing that you're talking about. So let me go ahead and block you. Bye-bye. Go ahead, madam.
Yeah, I would just like to know your take on why do you think the passport bros are angry?
I think that the passport bros are angry, and Ashy also. I said Ashy too. Because every time I run across a live, like I ran across two today, they're always talking about women that they say that they don't want and that they have divested away from. So I go in there and they're talking about, going overseas, going to Colombia, but then they're talking about how black women are overweight and obese and evil and nasty and mean, and they're single mothers and all of these things, as opposed to focusing on what they do like. Why wouldn't you focus on the women that you're interested in? Why wouldn't you speak life into them and uplifting those women, as opposed to talking about and bashing women that you're not concerned with? That doesn't make any type of logical sense. And they weaponize statistics that most of the time, those statistics are a definite reflection of them and not just a reflection of black women. Like I said earlier, when you talk about single motherhood and you talk about BLK women are the least married, who's in control of marriage and choosing to marry someone? Not the woman. Most of the time, 99% of the time, it's not her. Black women that are single mothers children are not made with one party. They're made with two. And statistics prove that any race of women that engages with BLK men has an increased risk of becoming a single mother. So it's just a lot of things just seem like they're rooted in hatred. And I feel like if you really don't like BLK women and you're happy with foreign women, then why aren't you focusing on them? Number one. And number two, why don't you have those women? These men never have the women that they're talking about. So that's why.
Well, I think the same thing could be passed on to women as well too. The same way how women would talk about how he's not shit, and the same way
Okay,
women
we're
would
not talking
talk
about
about
women that aren't, that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about
it's the
passport
same
bros.
thing.
No,
It,
no, no,
it
no.
is
We're
the
talking
same
about,
thing.
let's stay on topic, ma'am. We're talking about passport bros. In what world do you see women, specifically BLK women, talking about they have to go overseas to get other races of men? And then where do you see black women still discussing BLK men? The most of the women that and I'm married to a black man, an amazing black man. But let me say, most of the black women that I've ever spoken to that have divested away from black men, they don't even talk about them. They don't even care. They're not even a factor. I've never seen a group of people say that their women are inadequate, but yet choose to talk about them every day. And so we're talking about movements where people base the whole movement on the degradation of another group. I would like to know what movement black women have started to do that.
Well, I think it is pretty common for people to talk about the problems that's happening within their community. So I don't think it's wrong for both black men and black women to talk about the issues that they have and they face within their community. And then you mentioned about what black women are going overseas, and I could.
What did you guys say? In the comments, raw cutlery, you said black women go to Italy, Philippines, Spain, Brazil. What do you mean? Yes, black women travel. This isn't about traveling. I just said like a movement, like passport sisters, and that they build it on the hatred of black men. Yeah. And I am Satori. I am married, and I really don't got to prove nothing to you. But if you knew my lives, my husband is in here quite often. So please stop the game. At my age, what woman over 30 is lying about being married? Let's keep it real here, okay? Like what? Let me keep going. Let's see here. Let's see. I'm Satori. You said you're going to troll until I block you. I don't have to block you. Let me add you up here. You can get in the box. I am Satori. Please get in the box because you're the one that sounds bitter. Who talks about trolling somebody they don't know because of my opinion? I bet you don't go in those passport bro lives and say anything to them. So get in the box. Because when I saw these lives, I didn't go in there and say nothing to those men because they were beyond saving. But please get in the box. Please, please. I double dare you, but I bet you won't. Because a lot of y'all are unattractive cowards that don't want to come in and say anything, but please get up in the box. I'm gonna give you 30 seconds to get up here, Satori. Please. Cause you ain't got to troll me. Come get in a box. Come get this smoke. I'm not ducking smoke from anybody. Yes, I'm, you know what? F Merc, he definitely looks like he's definitely had some criminal background. I'm just gonna block him because if you're saying you're not gonna get in the box, you're definitely not. We're not having a discussion. As I was saying, and the lady that was up here, I just want y'all to know for when I upload this to YouTube, I did drop her because I'm not here to talk to a pick me. Like I really am not. That's not what I'm here to do. And just the fact that she already started off disingenuous, it just really irritated me. So it was just like, I'm not even gonna give you the benefit of the doubt. Now it's crazy because if it was a man that came up here and said those things, I would have listened. Now I would have debated him or whatever after the fact, but I would have listened. I'm not here to listen to a woman that is so thirsty and desperate for male validation that she would just come up and make all type of excuses for BLK men when they would never do that for her. Ever. Like literally never. Wouldn't spit on her if she was on fire. Let's see here. Raw cutlery. You can get in the box, but after that, you probably gonna get blocked if you don't get in a box. You said shouldn't be about bashing someone for their preference. Everyone has a preference, male and female. There's a difference between having a preference and dogging out a whole entire group of people. Okay, so let's make that clear. Yeah. So anyway, like I said, I really would like to talk about this. and get some clarity, even though I don't feel like anyone will be able to help me. All right, go ahead, Terrence. You there, Terrence? Okay, I
Oh,
think
okay,
he
there we
might
go.
have.
For some reason, sorry, my mic wasn't working. My bad.
Okay, no problem.
Um, so like my opinion on the whole passport bros thing.
I mean, really, the prompt is why are passport bros so ashy and angry? You could answer that if you'd like.
Oh well, honestly, I don't know if they don't use their oils and butters. I don't know if they ashy, but I'll just give this personal opinion. I've always thought that going to a whole different country for the sake of finding a woman is kind of, I would say it's kind of crazy.
I mean, I've always felt that way. I felt that a lot of times when you hear the passport bro, like they talk about it, they'll always say that like, I'm a intelligent man, I'm a high value man, I have a lot to offer. Um, and that's weird to me because I feel like there are millions of women in America, millions and millions and millions, and there are immigrants here that come from the countries that they're talking about visiting. There are women of different thought processes. There are definitely plenty of women that have no problem being a pick me here. But I feel like the thing about it is that these men are lying to us and also to themselves. They are not able to attract any type of woman that it doesn't matter. They can't attract any type of woman that they're attracted to. So they feel like they want to go to other countries to where they may be able to dangle a possible citizenship or money over these women's heads in order to get them. Because I've never heard any type of really accomplished men or men that are actually attractive ever say that they had to go somewhere else to get a woman. They don't have a problem getting women to do whatever they would like them to do because they're the type of men that women would be attracted to or listen to. And I think that's something that they'll never understand because they don't understand the problem is not BOK women or women in general, it's actually them. But let me go up here to Raw Cutlery. Go ahead, Raw Cutlery. I'm not for sure. Yeah, go ahead.
Good afternoon. I'm here in Florida. Thank you so much for allowing me to be on your live. I think it's a neat topic, and I appreciate that you allow people to come up and you actually give them the opportunity to speak because a lot of times people will have a live, and then as soon as someone comes up, if they have a different opinion from that person, they immediately talk over them and they don't let them get their thoughts out. So I appreciate you being a good host and just allowing everyone to speak and get out their thoughts and
Oh,
whatnot.
sometimes I do that. It just depends.
Yes, ma'am.
But go ahead.
But I just want to say I agree with you, and I also agree with Terrence, who was just up. I don't think it's I don't think it's I think it's kind of odd that you have to go overseas to find a mate, but I also think that everyone has their sense of preference. Like I know two black women specifically here in Florida, and they sell real estate with me, and they're making high six figures. They do very well for themselves, and they travel to Brazil, they travel to the Philippines because they want a Brazilian or Filipino man. Not that they dislike black men or anything like that, but that's their particular preference. And I think that everybody tends to have their preference. I think the whole passport thing, the passport bros, I think that's been I think it's been glamorized via social media because of the Andrew Tates and the alpha males and all of that stuff. But I agree with you. I think it's kind of odd that you feel you need to go overseas to get someone when you have tons of good women over here. You have tons of good black women, Spanish women, white women. I've never understood the whole concept of, traveling outside the US just to find a mate. But I have a friend, he is a he works in data mining as an engineer, and he does very well for himself also. And he said specifically that when he goes to these different countries, he said he feels like he's treated a little bit better by the women in those countries. He said they're more in tune to, I guess, respecting him. He said that there's not necessarily judgment because he doesn't feel that he's, I guess, very attractive. So he feels it's a lot harder and a lot challenging to find someone stateside because he feels that a lot of American women are shallow, just like a lot of American men are shallow. So he feels going overseas is a little bit better because They're not more so focused on who
Yeah,
you
I,
look
I just
at.
wanted to interject there
Yes,
and
ma'am.
say that I've heard that a lot. And I wish that like men, specifically unattractive men, would understand something. Attraction and what people view generally as attractive, or if you're like, objectively ugly. I hate to use that word, but objectively ugly, the women over there think the exact same thing. They may just play their cards right because that's how they've been indoctrinated, or they may
Yes,
play their
ma'am.
cards right because they want to get back over here, or they may
Right.
play their cards right because this man has some financial stability to offer them. But if you are unattractive so much so that you feel like you need to go somewhere else, I can promise you that those ladies think the exact same thing. They just may be more willing to play the long game because they feel like they need a man than opposed to the women over here in the United States. And I wish that instead of, men focusing on how they can finesse a woman to accept them in their, bare estate, that maybe they might want to put that effort into working on themselves, making
Right.
themselves more attractive. That way they wouldn't have to go trying to see if they could finesse a woman into accepting them at their worst. You know what I mean?
Right, I understand that, yes. And then a lot of people, I've also heard in conversations, a lot of people feel like the whole Passport Bros movement is to basically find a woman overseas. However, the women overseas, and I don't mean this disrespectfully to those women that are overseas, but from what I've heard, speaking to people that travel extensively, they've said that they have friends that are a part of the whole Passport Bros movement, and those guys travel overseas because the women overseas aren't necessarily as versed as the U.S. women. So I don't want to say they can take advantage of them, but there are certain things they don't necessarily understand, like the U.S. women. So I guess, they fall for certain things, and I guess maybe it's a bit easier because of their circumstances and because of their background and what they come from. You know what I mean? It's a little odd, and it's never something I've done, but I've heard of people, getting involved in that, and I just think it's a little odd to say the least.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I wanted to respond to somebody in the comments. Let's see, what's your name? uh I think it's lame. I think your name is lame, which I think is very apropos. Sir, you said that I'm not tearing down black men on my page, nor do I. My page is for black women. It's pro black women page. And just so you know, I get paid. Just so you know. It's not for free. Yeah. Let me go over here to T. Hey, how you doing, sis?
Going on. Excuse my voice. Yeah, this is my backup page. My other two pages got banana temporary. So anyone,
You okay?
yeah, it's just my voice. I'm not
Okay.
sick or anything. It's just my voice. Um, yeah. So anyone that's on my page, that see my page, this is T. Follow, please. Now I'm not sure if I can really talk without people understanding me. Like, can y'all understand me?
I can understand you. I can understand you.
Sound like I smoke like 3 packs of cigarettes or some shit. Like, shit is annoying. I would just say, as far as why they so angry, so ashy. Oh, we already know that they sexually frustrated men that couldn't get no cootie cat, and they had to go across oceans to get. When they say women, honestly speaking, I don't even think they looking for women. I think a lot of them are looking for underage girls or underage boys, one of the two. You know. Um, they do take advantage of these women. It's funny how they say that, the American women are stuck up and mean. They get a career, they act like BITCHs. But I've never heard any of these passport bros get with a woman from another country that is successful in her country. Have you noticed that trigger? I never heard a passport bro said, I married this Filipino woman and she owns and she owned businesses, an international business. She got 2 degrees, or she's a doctor in her country. I never heard that. They always get with the women. They go to the poorest part of the country with they $50 and flex. That's what I've known. I've never seen. Can I point out? No one can point out passport bro that said that he got with a successful woman from that country. Can someone point that man out to me? I never heard somebody going to DR and said, I'm dating a doctor. She's not like these American women. She's a doctor, but she's humble. I've never heard that. I never heard that. Could someone please point that out to me? I've never heard of it.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you. Definitely. I don't think that you will, because I do think that the majority of men that are in the mind frame that they want to go overseas to find a woman, to get one, I really do believe that they are inadequate in some way. Now, it could either be they're broke, or they're unattractive, or it could be they're both, or it could be they're bad built. But or they, the I think, if I was to give the percentage of, like, in my research of Passport Bros and my conversations and debates with them over the years, I would say maybe one, literally one out of the literal thousands upon thousands that I've talked to was actually attractive, and he was like an abuser. So I think that the majority of them are unattractive, and then you may find one that is just there because he wants to abuse women. But I don't think, but choosing a woman that has some type of autonomy, she's able to stand on her own, that's not going to put him in a position to where he can keep that woman around for an extended period of time and abuse her or treat her badly. And I think the problem with BOK men more specifically is that they have no social power, no social standing, no anything over here. The only power that they possess is the power that they're able to exert over black women. They're able to dominate black women, dog black women, talk about them without consequence, because anti-blackness is global. It's prevalent everywhere. And contrary to what everybody says, nobody cares about black people and what we do to destroy ourselves. So they know that they can essentially destroy black women and be completely devoid of consequences. But I think that anywhere else they don't have any power. They can't disrespect the white man. We already know this. They can't really disrespect the other races of women, like, not really, really bad, because if those women get tired and they alert the men in their communities, the men in their communities will step in to stop it. So it's like, where can they go to exert some type of power? And the only place they can do that here in the States is against black women, or possibly women that are at a even more of a financial disadvantage overseas. And I find that to be so disturbing and sad that they never focus on building up their power as men. They only focus on who's the weakest that they can dominate and bully. And that to me is scary. It's actually pathetic when you think about it, because I hear black men say all these stats about black women and their wigs and weaves and obesity rates and this and that, but I never hear them talk about, hey, let's talk about the fact that black men are the least employed race of men. Let's talk about why we still aren't getting paid, why we are still getting discriminated and we are getting higher sentences when it comes to prison sentencing than others. Why are all these things happening to us? Let's talk about that. Let's fight against all of these things. I don't hear that. They didn't make a movement to get societal power. They made a movement to actually leave society and go somewhere else to get a semblance of control. That is actually embarrassing when you think about it. But yeah. Let me go to Terrence, and then I'll go to Raw Cutlery if you guys had anything else to say.
Sure.
Wait, so this topic, is it about passport bros or is it about black men?
I think I think that most of the people that talk about passport broing in such a crazy manner and put it out in the oven, I think they are black men. White T men have been passport broing it and marrying like Asian women, different types of Asian women for literal decades before I was even born. You know
Very
what I
long
mean?
time.
And
Yeah.
you never heard anything about them. They never was making lives and platforms talking about, oh yeah, you know what, we're getting these Asian women because we don't like white T women. We don't like their eyes. We don't like their butts. We don't like their this and that and the third. They're too skinny for us. We like a different type of woman. I never heard that. White T men just moved in silence. They just married the woman that they wanted, and that's it. Hispanic people are one of the white T Hispanics specifically are one of the highest groups that date out. Never hear them saying it either, not publicly anyway. So me to speak on passport bros in this manner, it would unfortunately have to be based around black men because they're the ones that are doing it in this manner. So there's no way for me to get around it.
Mm.
Yeah. Let me go down here. Who was that was speaking? Was that you, Terrence, or was
Yeah,
that Raw
yeah.
Cutlery?
I was just I can't really speak, and there's nothing wrong with people who can, but me personally, I can't really speak in such blanketed manners or generalized manners because I don't know, I'm just one person. So all I know is that people do what they do, women or men. So I can't really speak in such generalized terms.
I mean, I think that you can speak about something that's going on with the collective of people. Of course, we know that it's not every single person, but I think that definitely when we're speaking about passport bros or we're speaking about statistics and factual things, like I just said, we can speak about the collective. Anywhere would I say that this wouldn't be the representative of all black men, but I do think that if I was talking about passport bros that are happen to be black men, I think that I wouldn't be using a blanketed term to say that generally most of them think this way. I don't think that I would be remiss to do that. But yeah. So, but if you think that, then I think that maybe you just haven't done enough extensive research on actually the movement of passport bros as it pertains to specifically BLK men.
Okay, one question.
But
You said a
but
thousand. You said you spoke to a
hey, the
thousand
chef,
men.
hold on. Let's go into turn, the chef. Um, let's go up here to Raw Cutlery. Go ahead, because I think you wanted to say something. Raw Cutlery.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I just wanted to add also what you were stating earlier about sometimes when passport bros go overseas to partake in certain activity and whatnot. A lot of times when they partake in these activities, like you said, sometimes when it comes to certain countries, it's the allure of the American man being in that country, and the American man can take care of me. So, why don't I give this person a little bit of time and see what they're about. A lot of times it's just, I don't want to like talk bad about these countries and say they're poor and they're this and they're that. I'm not bashing these countries, but what I'm saying is a lot of these countries, they're not doing as well as we are in America. So sometimes they see the American white man, the American Hispanic man, the American black man, and they see somewhat of a meal ticket. They see somewhat of a way to get out of their situation. And a lot of times it's a lot easier for them. So I think a lot of times that's what it is. And like you said, when it comes to the passport bros, social media has just put a lot of attention on that type of activity. And now more and more people are doing it. When, like you said, white men been going to the Philippines for centuries, you know what I mean? Snatching up women and bringing them back here. But now we have more attention pertaining to that because it's all over social media now.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I just want you guys to know that the chef, he dropped. I did not drop him. He left on his own accord. I guess it was because I told him that he had to wait in line, but nonetheless, it was not me. That he left on his own. I was perfectly willing to hear him speak. Let me go over here to T Scorpio and then Supervillain. Hey y'all, hey y'all, hey sis, hey Supervillain.
Oh, you want to go first? You want to go first? Because you was late.
Go ahead.
I was basically commenting saying I'm actually for those women using those men. I'll be the first to say it out loud, out in the open. Yes, I'm for those women using those men because a lot of them ain't coming over there for good intentions anyways. She might as well take advantage of the situation, and she might as well use him to benefit her. If she needs to come into a country where she can have more financial independence and live the life that she chooses versus being subjected to a particular type of treatment in her country, yes, I am all for that. Use them. Let these losers go over there and bring every woman from every country here so she can get safety for her and her children. Absolutely. Do it. Use them up.
All right, T. All right, go ahead, Supervillain.
Hey, Triggered. Thank you for having me. What's up, T? I'm gonna say this. I am a pro passport bros. I just have a few suggestions. Number one, I always come up here and say because when we're talking about it in these spaces, they're particularly always going to display their disdain for American BLK women or modern women. We know that's who they are always trying to disparage and say that these other women are better than. My thing is this. Like when y'all go over there, because the way from what that sounds like, it's a paradise. I mean, these are some of the most awesome women in the world. How come I never hear any stories like y'all paving dirt roads in their communities? Y'all building water wells so they can have some clean water in their villages. Y'all building some schoolhouses so these kids, a lot of these women's children can have an education. I don't hear y'all talking about donating a 10 cents pair of socks. Like, where's those stories at? Those are the things that we want to know. Like, y'all always coming back telling us how much better these women are than us. We know. That's why y'all over there. We got that part. What about what you're doing over there to improve their way of life? Because we know you're over there because you can afford it. That's literally the reason why you can't do it here. The women aren't going to be submissive to you because you don't fit the bill. You can't afford submission. So you go over to where you can, which is fine, by the way. Host, I'm on a huge thing where, especially when it comes to these BLK passport bros, when you do not like black women, I think the most important pro-black thing you can do is not date black women. I'm not going to tell you you hate your mama. I'm not going to say you hate yourself. I'm going to ask you to take a couple brothers with you. I say that all the time. So I am most definitely pro passport bros. I just want to know, like, where's the dope? You know, where are the paved roads? Where are the schoolhouses? Where's the fresh water wells? Where's the 10 cent pair of socks for these kids because they walking around barefoot? Like, when y'all can come back and start reporting those stories, maybe I can take y'all a whole lot more seriously. And I'm going to just say this before I yield, Trigger. A lot of the times I hear the rhetoric that they don't like American modern women or American black women. And I understand. I'll say this. Most men get their examples of the women in their life by their mothers, their grandmothers, their sisters. And by the way that a lot of these degenerates talk, I can only assume that they are also around degenerate women. And when you're around degenerate women, you're going to assume like the ones that look like the degenerate women that you're around are the same. So I understand them going around, getting as far away as possible from the women that's in their lives, mainly their mothers, their grandmothers, their sisters. This is why I don't invalidate their story. When they Sugar, the most beautiful, most helpful, most important, most generous person in my life is always a black woman. And guess what? It's not the same black woman. So I definitely understand being bitter. If you never, ever, ever, ever in your life came across a wonderful black woman, that shit would make me bitter too. So I get it. That's why I don't invalidate their experience. I just assume they've never had the blessing to come across an amazing black woman. Because if they did, there's no way they can talk like that and do the things that they do. Again, that shit would make me bitter too. So I don't invalidate their experience. I welcome them and I ask them to take some others along with them. I'm gonna yield right there, Trey. Thanks.
Okay. All right. Let me say this. I think that may be the case for some of them. But I think in some of them, the other ones is that they want an easy, and I really hate to say this because I don't want it to make it sound like I am degrading these other women. I am not, because I do feel like if you look up like the history of Colombia and like the domestic violence rates and the fact that the women have been indoctrinated there, a lot of them, of course, this doesn't mean all of them, but they have been indoctrinated to believe that they are subservient or less than a man and that their only purpose in life is to be a man's accessory. I think that men that have no power in their real lives need to feel powerful somewhere. We know how the black community is treated globally across the diaspora. We know the anti-blackness. We know the way we are treated. And we also know that there are a lot of things that we do lack, especially with Black American people, as far as power, and even in Africa, all the many countries over there as well, a lack of power that whitey people have come in and infiltrated and did all of these things. I think that specifically BLK men need to feel powerful somewhere, and a lot of times they get their power from the domination and degradation of women. And it used to be that the degradation of Black women was good enough, but once Black women started making more strides to become independent, or to become able to take care of themselves because they knew that they didn't have anyone else to rely on, then the degradation that they could mete out to be okay women was not enough, because Black women had autonomy and had a way to say, hey, okay, you know what, I'm tired of this, so let me go ahead and walk away and just be on my own. So now they seek to find another vulnerable demographic to enact this so-called, power structure on, this fake false power structure of somebody that they perceive to not have any power. And that's disgusting. I think that there's also a percentage of that it doesn't have anything to do with them not meeting great Black women, but just also they want to exhibit some type of power and dominance over someone, and there's literally no one else that they can do it to, that they feel comfortable, that they're not scared to try. Because if Black men were as dominant as they say, as they want Black women to believe, or as they want Black women to accept, they would have already made some type of moves after MLK and all of this. Once they saw things did not improve after integration, they would have said, you know what, we're going to, we rather, unalive on our feet than unalive on our knees, per se. They would have said we have to do something to improve our position and status as men, but they have done nothing of the sort. So I think that a lot of it is just, hey, I got to take power somewhere, and let me take power from the weakest link, a group of women that are somewhere else that may feel like they need some type of assistance that I may be able to offer, even though I only have $250 in my bank account. But I
But can I
digress.
point out
Yeah,
something
yeah, yeah,
though?
yeah, yeah.
Even
Go
in
ahead.
that example, they're not even doing trying to gain power, right? Because again, we acknowledge that a lot of these communities, maybe not the whole country, but the specific communities that they visit are impoverished. Their $250 goes a long way over there. I'm not gonna lie. They could do things like, I don't know, buy government ship, buy land. They can alter the government over there with that $250. I'm not even trying to be facetious. I'm being for real. They don't even do that.
Yeah.
They don't even do that. Like, they don't even want to gain power over there. They could, you know what I'm saying?
No, I just think they want to dominate the women, like the specific women, whatever woman they choose. They want to exhibit that power over her and domination. I
And
don't think
it's
it's about, like,
sad.
the actual country that they're in, but I do think they want to dominate the woman that they're in. I believe that that is what the majority of them find power in, the degradation of someone else. I mean, if you think about what rap and hip hop is, and I'm not talking about what it started off being, but what it came to be with NWA and Luke and Dr. Dre and all of them, they found power in the degradation and in creating an art form that was based on the degradation of the women that they came for. Come here, B, open your legs. You ain't this, you ain't that, you're only good for this, that, and the third. And putting it out there for everybody else to consume, to see how much the men in our community have no worth or value on the women that they came from. So I think that a lot of it is just rooted in, like I said, degradation of women in some way, shape, form, or fashion, which I find to be, is sad. But these things are like easily proven. It's not like these are just things that I'm saying. It's easily proven to say there are no other demographics of men that have created an art form strictly for the degradation of the women that they come from. I'm not saying they haven't had some crazy songs, this and that and the third, but nobody other than BLK men have created an art form that has gained global popularity, rooted or based on the backs of the degradation of Black women. None. But let me go ahead and let Queens speak. Go ahead, Queens.
Hi.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you? So, the reason why I don't really like passport bros is because they don't understand. Like in other cultures, especially like in Asian culture or African culture, they really aren't too fond of people dating outside their culture. So when passport bros think, oh yeah, I want to submit, I want a woman who's obedient, who's this, that, and the third. Good luck, because people in those countries, you can't really marry their daughter without having some type of money. Like, especially in African culture, if you are like just a regular man, the father's gonna ask you, what can you do for my daughter? What can you provide for my daughter? Can you give my daughter this, that, and the third? And a lot of them don't like American people. So why are you going to a country and trying to date their women, and when you meet their family, they're not really fond of you because apparently they think that all Americans are dumb.
Okay. All right, Queens. Also I think that it's something to note as well that there are several countries that BLK men have been known to frequent, that the countries have started to put things in place of not allowing them to visit and travel there. I think that's also something to note. And that's also I would say that that should give them some type of clue that their presence isn't as wanted as they think it is. But let me go down here to shoot. Terrence, did you have something to say? And then I'll go back to everybody else and speak so everybody can speak again.
Yeah, I wanted to go off of what Super Villain said. When you said Super Villain that you understand Passport Bros, and then you mentioned when they view women who are basically just I can't cuss, but ain't she? You know what I'm saying? And they use that viewpoint as a as a reason to view all women the same way. I really resonated with that. I think it takes a higher form of education to understand. And I'm going to go on a tangent. I hope I stay with the topic. I think it takes a higher form of education to understand that all people aren't the same and to understand individuality. And a real life example I can use is when you guys were talking about Black women. I was blessed enough to have both parents in my life. I'm fully African American. I'm not mixed with anything. And my parents used to be crackheads. And, my mother, she resonated with all the negative stereotypes that people put on Black women today. My mom was loud. My mom was obnoxious. My mom was irrational, and she was very argumentative. I love my mom dearly. And I grew up with that from damn, Gloria, give me a chance. I grew up with that from a young boy to being 24 years old today. But not at one point at all did I think at all Black women were like that. Even though I've seen that growing up, I never thought at all for one minute that all Black women were like that, because I think it takes a higher form of knowing or a higher form of intelligence to seek or know about individuality and understand that people are not the same just by what you see around you. And I think that's what a lot of people don't understand. I think a lot of people have disregarded the form of individuality, and a lot of people are okay and
Okay, so
comfortable
let
with
me ask you a question. Why didn't you mention your father? What was associated with your father? What behavior did he exhibit?
narcissism.
Okay, so your father was a crackhead, but he didn't exhibit any of the stereotypes that are associated with Black men, like violence, hypersexuality, abandonment, abuse, criminality.
He
Did he
didn't.
do
He
any of
didn't.
that?
He didn't.
Laziness,
He didn't.
not working, not having a
He
job,
he didn't abandon his. He didn't
robbing people.
abandon me or his children, and he did work all through all these. And
Okay, so once
what I'm
again,
saying,
I feel like I'm going to interject here. This is exactly the problems that I have with Black men, and I think that this is something that is very prevalent. Contrary to what Terrence just said about how we have to look at people as individuals, and we everybody's different. There are certain trends of people or things that are in communities that run prevalent in it. Just like we can easily look at white tea people and say, hey, a lot of white tea people are racist. A lot of white tea people are biased. A lot of white tea people don't want Black people to succeed, which is why they put so many things in place for Black people to fail or try to stop them, like flooding their towns, burning up their towns, destroying their towns, hiding history, doing all of these things. We can say that without a doubt, there is a trend of the way a large collective of white tea people behave. I have no idea why, when it comes to Black men or Black women, we pretend that we don't know that there are also trends and things of the ways that people behave. And the issue that I have with what Terrence said is that, and it's the issue that I have with a lot of BLK men that are passport bros or just BLK men in general. If you notice, he focused on his mother, said that she was everything that is associated with Black women: being loud, being obnoxious. Don't interrupt me. Being loud, being obnoxious, and all of these other things, which is not something that's necessarily whoever's reporting here, if anybody can go in here and block any men that y'all see in my live, if you have access, please do so, because I'm not here for y'all to report when y'all don't like what I'm saying. As I was saying, because I just got a restriction, let me say this, like I just said, that threw me off, but let me just keep going. how, if you notice that he said that everything bad about black women, loud, obnoxious, all of these things, not to mention that those are things that white tea people put on black women in order to dehumanize them and devalue them. But he said all of those things and only hyper focused on his mother, but didn't talk about his father. When I asked him about his father, he talked about, oh yeah, my father worked, my father did this and that, he didn't abandon me. Well, how in the world did your mama do all this and she's a crackhead, but your daddy's a crackhead? I done seen plenty of crackheads in my life, and crackheads are definitely, and I grew up with both of my parents that were married in my household. They were not crackheads. I lived in suburbia. I never lived in the hood, never did any of that. My parents were very well educated, college educated, never did any type of narcotics or anything like that. My father never been arrested, never been to prison, never been to jail, never did anything. My father was part of the Black Student Union, so he instilled in me a lot of pro-blackness growing up. So I don't have the experience that you have, but I do think that it's really crazy that you didn't mention anything negative about your crackhead daddy. You didn't say, hey, my father abandoned me while he was out here smoking on rocks. You didn't say that. You only hyper-focused on your mother, and that is the problem that I have with black men in general, is that y'all are completely unaware of the things that y'all do, and y'all are in this whole idea that y'all are perfection, and the things that y'all do aren't really a big deal in what in society. And that is a problem. And anytime anybody attempts to call those things out and say, hey, yes, the black man is the most least employed race of man in the United States. The black man is the most violent towards his woman in the United States. The black man is the most quickest to abandon his children. The black man is the least married male. He does not value marriage. He does not value family. You say things like that, then all of a sudden y'all don't have nothing to say, but y'all have something very quick to say about somebody being loud and obnoxious. It just doesn't make any sense. And I already knew that you were up here for a disingenuous purpose, Terrence. But it's just absolutely disgusting. And this is a trend. And this isn't being discriminatory. It's just saying facts. A lot of y'all are out of touch. And y'all hate y'all mamas, but love y'all daddies that did way worse to y'all than your black mother ever did. You know what I'm saying? Which I find to be crazy and disgusting. And no, you can't clarify. Let me keep going forward. Go
Yeah,
ahead,
you can
T.
clarify.
Yeah, no, I said you can't clarify. That's what I said. All right. Go
That
ahead, T.
gonna say was I do find funny that like when we say like the typical black woman, supposedly the stereotype, being loud and obnoxious, but no one says anything about these Karens. A white tea woman will
Exactly.
literally get you locked up, weaponize the police, and state that you are a black man, so they can send a racist popo to handle you and possibly unalive you. That is, to me, that is way worse than a so-called loud black woman. And for women, black woman is loud is a defense mechanism. We was living in times where we cannot afford to be weak, so we had to put on a facade, and we had to tap in our masculine energy to survive. And the fact that it was pointed out that she was an addict, and still there was no grace given for her like the father. Because once you tell me a woman is an addict, I already know that's an addiction talking. The addiction is controlling her behavior. You cannot be a good parent and be an addict. I do not believe that. I'm sorry, I don't. I do not believe a man, or like, oh yeah, he worked, he didn't abandon us. Of course he didn't abandon you. He needed a place to get high. Of course he didn't. He needed a place to sit and, like what Trigger said, and puff on his rock. You really think because he's working to provide for his family, or he was working to supply his crack? That's what that was for. It had nothing to do with being a father figure, and that doesn't make any sense to me, how men can really try to gaslight us into believing a parent can be like a person can be an addict and be a functional, perfect parent. That is impossible. That is impossible. And I guarantee you, if she was an addict, your father turned her into an addict.
You know
I
what?
guarantee you.
I, I
I guarantee you that.
I just find it to be like I said, I find it to be crazy the type of, you know, gymnastics that I see so many BLK men go through in order to make BLK women the enemy, or make it seem like they are doing something that other races of women are not capable of. Just like you mentioned about the whole Karen thing, you have white tea women that have actually lied on BLK men to the point to where they have been unalived, they've been lynched, they've been you and I'm not even talking about in old historical times. I'm talking about right now. I remember the whole thing about the white tea woman that was calling the police and telling the police that this BLK man was attacking her because he had told her that her dog was unleashed or something like that. He had it all on camera. They can do all of these things over and over and over and over again and somehow not have this perception that they are aggressive, that they are violent, that they are dangerous, that they are loud, that they are obnoxious. But you want to put it on the women in the community that you came from that have a lot to deal with. Not only do Black women have a lot to deal with, but we literally have no protection from the collective of BLK men. Anytime something happens to a Black woman or you see something, all I see is comments from BLK men. Oh no, I got to go home. I wouldn't help her. I don't protect her. I don't know her. I ain't gonna do that. I gotta save myself. And so it's just really crazy to me how you can actively in real time see the grace that is given to women in other communities, or when you see, like, you know, Hispanic women, more specifically white tea Hispanics, because the grace is not given to the Afro Latinas, but you could see them going crazy, pulling out switchblades, trying to poke up a dude, cussing them out. Oh, that's spicy. I like that. I like my women like that, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And I just think that it's just a sick and twisted, disgusting double standard. And it happens so many times over and over and over again. And when people talk about, oh, I can't talk about, I have to talk about individuals. I can't talk about the collective of BLK men. Well, I challenge you, if you feel that way, anybody that's listening, please do me a favor. And when you go on live in the future, if you have an opportunity, ask BLK women. And I can guarantee you that 99% of them have a story to tell that will definitely correlate with the pathology of BLK men that I'm talking about. This pathology is probably prevalent or present in at least 75 to 80% of BLK men. I will give grace and say 20% of Black men, maybe not. Maybe they've been able to unpack it and stop it. But 80% is exactly what I'm speaking about. And just like Terrence, even if they're not aware of it, they definitely participate in it. But let me go here to Supervillain and then F Merc. Go ahead, Supervillain, and then I'll go to F Merc after that.
Thank you, Trigger. And I just wanted to point out the candy, the C-Rack, it doesn't actually make you loud or obnoxious. Actually, these people who do that tend to be conspicuous and sneaky and quiet. Also, I want to let you know, maybe your mom was loud because she didn't feel heard, which tends to happen to Black women. And also that maybe she wasn't obnoxious. It's just that Black women have the tendency to not be conformative. Like, we're going to be ourselves in spaces that we are. We don't, and I'm not going to generalize, right? Because he said individuals. We tend not to go with the flow because everyone else is doing it. And that is deemed obnoxious, but we're just not being conformative. I think it has to be very careful. And I understand you were naming stereotypes about how we describe Black women. Again, Black women often aren't heard. So it comes off as loud when we try to get our turn to speak, and that we're often not conformative. So it looks like it's us being obnoxious. We're just not going with the flow. And I just want to have to reiterate, as a medical professional, a lot of these people who do the C-Rack, they're actually not loud or obnoxious. They're very sneaky and conspicuous and quiet. I just wanted to throw that out there just for educational purposes. Thank you, Triggered.
All right. Let me go over here to Raw Cutlery and then Queenside. If you had anything to say, Raw Cutlery. If you don't, it's okay.
Yes, ma'am. I'm getting ready to take off because I got a closing to attend. But I just want to say thanks for allowing me to be a part of the live. And I just want to say really, really fast, 2 years ago, I was in Dominican Republic because we were doing a land acquisition deal over there to try to purchase some homes for people that vacation in Dominican Republic and whatnot. So we were at a resort in this area. And while we're in the resort, it was me and 3 of my buddies, business partners and whatnot. We're not there to act crazy or do anything childish or anything like that. We're literally just there for the real estate transaction. Then we're taking off. So we were there for 3 days. So we're in the resort, and outside the resort, there was the beach right there. So when we checked in, Once we got in, the guy at the front desk said, "Okay, you guys have a good time, enjoy yourself. Just take it easy. Don't get all crazy with the Dominican women and whatnot." And we were like, "What are you talking about? Why would you say that?" So we were kind of offended because we thought he was saying this because of what we look like, right? So when we get to our room, we're like on the second floor, not on the 25th floor or anything like that. So we're very close to the bottom where the beach is. So we had Dominican women that are coming up to the balcony, not coming up to it, but they're standing on the ground and they're at the balcony and they're saying, American men, come down, hang out with us, take us back to America, so on and so forth, right? And we're like, what the hell is this? What are they doing? So I can see why, I don't agree with it, but I can see why some of these guys want to go to these specific countries to do things like that, because the allure of the American man to some women in these countries, you know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense. So I don't think it's right. It's not something that I necessarily agree with, but I can see how some of these kids, because from what I understand, it's majority of kids between like 18 to maybe 26 years old. I'm old, I'm 39 in October, but between 18 to like 26 years old, it just seems like a bunch of kids are the ones that are doing this, that are going to these different countries just to get laid and whatnot. And it's white men, black men, Hispanic men. It's just a bunch of kids. And it's because they're targeting women that are coming from lower circumstances and they see a way out. And I was just surprised to see this 2 years ago. Like I said, when we went to this business trip in Dominican Republic, it was just wild. It was crazy. But I just want to say thanks for allowing me to be on the live. Thanks for allowing me to get out my thoughts. You were very respectful. I don't feel like I was over talked or anything like that. So I appreciate it.
All right, no problem.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, you have a great day too.
Thank
I
you.
just wanted to say, today the live panels that I saw of Passport Bros, and I made sure that I screen recorded them. I'm gonna do a video about it. Every single person that was on there was a man that was definitely 30 years old or above. I made a point to not only click on the profiles of the men that were in the live boxes, which were they were all hideous, respectfully. Sorry, I don't like to just use personal attacks on look, but I want to make it clear that they weren't just, because everybody is ugly to somebody, or at least bare minimum unattractive, or it's not their cup of tea. I don't mean just men that are just not my cup of tea. I mean objectively hideous. All of the men that were on the live panel. And the men that I was looking at that were commenting the horrible things in the live, in the live chat, they were also very over the age of 30. They also were hideous. They were. And that's just what I can't lie. And I just wanted to say that because I want everyone to know that this mentality of passport broing is not something that is just relegated to somebody that's young. The person that I remember being the face of the passport bro movement, but decided not to be after, he got dogged out by the girls and dogged out by the society. I think his name was Austin Holliman or something like that. Very deranged, strange man, because he wasn't bad look. He wasn't a bad looking young man. I don't think that he was ugly at all, but I do think that there was something mentally broken in him. And he wanted to, once again, like I said earlier, the theme was to dominate and exhibit some type of control and power over someone else. And I don't think that he felt like he could do it here, so he wanted to go elsewhere to do that. And he didn't seem to be successful getting those women to do it either. But I would venture to say the majority of the men that are in the movement now, at least the nastiest ones that I've seen, me doing the research and the work that I do, it's been older men, at least 30 and up. Now, I have seen some younger men talk about they want to go or they want to be like that, but the men that say the craziest things and are super desperate are the men that are 30 and up, because they're getting older, and they probably never had women that were interested in them. But as the older they get, the less women are even more attracted to them. So they feel like they don't have any other options. But that's just my opinion of what I've seen. Let me go down here. You know what, Terrence, I'm sorry. I'm going to disconnect you because I really don't want to hear anything else that you have to say. I'm sorry about that. I'm really not sorry. If I'm be honest, I'm not sorry. I don't like disingenuous people. I don't like fakes. I don't like liars. I don't like people that don't just say it with their chest. If you said it with your chest, you know what I'm saying? And you say, hey, I don't, and I'm blocking you too, because I don't even want to hear what you type. So now you're blocked as well. I don't like it when people come up and be intellectually dishonest. If you know that you agree with the passport bros rhetoric, say it. Say it. If you believe that black women are a problem and because your mama was out there on them Rockies, out there, you know what I'm saying, giving brain back there in the back of the 7-Eleven, that's on you. If you're mad at her because of that, cool. But you should be mad at your daddy too. And you coming up here attempting to try to be shady because I pick up on the shade. I just ignored the shade because I knew that you didn't have a leg to stand on in your argument. I don't like people like that. I don't like, that's the reason why we can't get anywhere, because it's too many BLK men that want to not be challenged, so they want to be fake and phony. So I just didn't want to hear it. And it's like, this is, I get paid for other things in social media that I do, but when I do these lives on TikTok, I'm not getting paid for these. So my thing is that I refuse to listen to somebody that I am, disgusted by for free. Like, if you want to come back and cash at me, $500, and then you want to come up here and say what you got to say about the childhood trauma that you had from having parents that, were out there like that on the streets, smoking that good, then that's on you. But I'm not going to listen to it for free. I'm not, especially when you're coming at it in a way to degrade black women by only bringing up your black mama and not your black daddy that was doing the same thing. Because I've been around people that smoke in my lifetime, and I'm gonna tell you right now, whatever she was doing, your daddy was doing the same or even worse. And that's where you lost me. Anyway, and that's all I'm gonna say. You guys, I don't know how long I'm gonna keep this live panel up. So I'm gonna let T speak and Supervillain speak if y'all had
Well,
something to
I was
say.
about to point out how homie, this dude next to me was trying to argue with Brooklyn down there. I was like, oh, he's one of them too, because his true colors are shown in the comments, and I was too busy reading his comments. So yeah, of course, you can always know a passport bros when they run up here and defend this and try to put it in an intellectual quotes and speech on basically why you want to go over another country. Listen, who cares? No one cares that you want to go to another country and get a woman. No one cares. My thing is, the only thing is that I always point out is the reality. A lot of them are not going over there for women. They're going over there for children. It's always the countries that legalize child abuse activities. It's never a country that have some type of then again, a lot of them countries, every country does despicable things when it comes to children. But I know they run over there and not looking for women. They're not looking for love. They're not looking for companionship. A lot of them are looking for children. And that's the part that they don't want to say. And because you listen to them, if you're saying to me that a woman 25 is too old, then what's the age you're looking for then? And below 25 then. And then they go, well, and if you listen to them, they say in other countries, a 10-year-old is not the same as a 10-year-old in the United States. My red flags just start flying all over the place. You're basically initially saying you want to get with a 10-year-old. A lot of these dudes really be showing their true colors. I like to sit back and listen, and that's why I bring up age requirements. I was going to bring up the age, to the fellas, let me ask you fellas a question. How do y'all feel about the age requirements in other countries? If it's legal for you to be with a 14-year-old in another country, would you be with a 14-year-old in that country? And I guarantee you they'll say, if they don't want to look funny, they'll probably say, oh, of course not, I wouldn't. But in reality, they would. I don't put it past at least 90% and up men, if they legalize getting with a 10-year-old tomorrow in the United States. Or a lot of men that we know would jump on that bandwagon and park in front of an elementary school. Now they can boldly be as despicable as they want to be. So when we talk about passport bros, one of the elements I always will bring up is that you're not running over there looking for love. You're looking for a child.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with that. I think I really believe that when I hear men talk about dating 18-year-olds and they're like 30, 40, 50, Yeah, she's legal. She's legal. Okay. Well, at one time owning a black person was legal too. So just because something is legal doesn't mean it's moral. So it's just like, yeah, okay. So if society tells you that it's okay, like you said, to be with somebody 14 and that's now legal, yeah, you'll do it. I believe that if somebody says that 10 is the age, the magic number, yeah, you'll do it. You will go. And I think that's also the reason why a lot of men specifically go to Colombia. I hear them talking about they went to Cartagena and all this other stuff. I think a lot of people, I don't know if people research exactly what goes on in those countries, but it's a lot of funny business, a lot of ex trafficking, and a lot of things like that go on there. And I think that's why men go there. And that's unfortunate. You know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. I added somebody else up here. I don't know if he's going to be able to come up or not. Yeah, you had something to say? You there? Hello? Man, I think this person might have requested by mistake.
This is
Pennywise, did you add by mistake?
Yeah.
Who's that say yeah? Okay. I think they might have requested up by mistake.
I was gonna say just real quick, because I see, like I said, Roar addressing Brooklyn down there. Listen, she can generalize men all she want. If it don't apply, let it fly. And that's the problem. You men think that y'all can control the narrative of what we talk, how we talk. We have every right. Anyone up on this platform have a right to sit there and say we're going to generalize. We can, if you are not the men that we're talking about, you should not be offended, because I guarantee you, if Trigger would have put on that prompt that G men or whatever, you would not bring your ass up on the panel, because you'll say you're not a G man. So that's exactly the mindset you should have. If no one's talking to you directly, like you want to flex in the comments, oh, I got 5 degrees, I got 30 ounces. No one, she doesn't care. She don't want you anyways. So, like, come on, try to control women there. Like speech, that shit is just annoying. Like, oh, don't generalize. Oh man, yes the fuck she could. She can generalize men all she want, because they want to sleep with her, not you. Unless you want to sleep with them, then it's different. But the men are coming to her, so she has a right to sit there and generalize.
Yeah, and I think that we often don't realize how much we use generalizing in our regular everyday life, and that not only is it not wrong to do that, but it is a protection in certain instances. Like I said earlier, when we look at the historical way that white people have treated black people, historically, currently, right now, at this very actual moment, ticking as we speak, right? Black people say, hey, a lot of times I don't feel comfortable if I'm in a space where I'm the only black person. Or I feel like the majority or the collective of white people feel this way or do these things. Look at what's going on. If you have a demographic that is causing harm to another demographic a lot, and it's happening quite often, I think that the smartest thing would be for the people that are the victims of that demographic to use some type of discernment and be like, hey, I do think it's the collective of them. Let me just see, watch. You know what I'm saying? And regardless of what people want to say, black women are a vulnerable demographic. I say this all the time. Black women make up 10% of the female population in the US, but 59 to 60% of all the unalivings of women. And 99% of the time, that is done by black men. So, and we're not talking about all the other horrible statistics that are surrounded by black women's entanglement with black men. So there's a reason why, you know, I say, I can't speak for nobody else by the things that I say. I do know that it's not every one of y'all, but I do know that it's way too many of y'all. So thanks so much for coming up, T. I really appreciate you coming up, even with your voice. Thanks so much, sis. I'm about to end the live anyway, because I'm about to go outside. My husband about to get off work, and we about to go out some places. So I got to get ready. I'm gonna let Supervillain speak if she has something to say, and I'm gonna go ahead and end the live. Go ahead, Supervillain, if you had something to say, sis.
You wrapped it up well. I don't want to sound redundant. I hope you enjoy your time with your family. You take care, Trigger.
No problem, sis. It's always good to hear you speak, Supervillain. You always have a lot of good stuff to say. Intelligent, beautiful Black woman, as well as T. I appreciate you coming up. Another beautiful, intelligent sister, and appreciate you coming up with your voice and still speaking, a lot of intelligence and a lot of stuff. So I appreciate both of y'all. Also appreciate Brooklyn Shanae in the comments. Snap. Who else came up? Queen. And I think that was all the ladies that came up, if I'm not mistaken. Appreciate all of y'all. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end the live, you guys. And oh shoot, it was a pick me that came up here earlier, y'all. I really wish that T and Supervillain was up here at that time. But I ended up dropping her just in the middle of what she was talking about because I was just like, bro, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. And I really don't feel like going back and forth with a Black woman today. So I just dropped her in a protection for her because I felt irritated. And I was like, I'm finna go in on this lady. And I don't even want to do it. But anyway, if you're a Black woman listening to this, just know that I appreciate you. You're valuable. You're special. You're amazing. I love you, and I hope that you have a great weekend. And don't let anybody tell you that you are not thebomb.com, because you are. I know that society seeks to devalue the Black woman and make us feel like we don't have any power, but we have so much power. And they win when we don't realize and recognize that power. So realize your power, realize your greatness, realize your Black girl magic, sis, and move in that. And don't let these fools tell you anything differently, because I know I do not. I will check them in a minute, and you should too. All right. Oh, and if you guys like this live, if y'all like what I had to say, if y'all could just do me a solid and go to my page and click on the link in my bio and follow me on YouTube. I do have a YouTube page, and I do upload a video every day at 6 a.m. Central Standard Time. So if you like that, just follow me there. And once again, I'll see y'all later. Black women, I love y'all. And this page will always be a safe space for y'all and safe space for y'all only. And hopefully y'all have a great weekend. See y'all later. Love y'all.